What's up everybody, Jordan Stupar. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, my channel is starting to grow kind of quick and I'm kind of excited about it. No, it's not massive and I don't have like 1 million subscribers yet, but there is some growth on a continual basis because this is the place to be to talk about sales, business, and entrepreneurship. And if you're into those things, I'd like to politely ask you to tap on the subscription button so that you can stay current with any updates, new content, so on and so forth. With that being said, a day or two ago, I decided to make a post on Facebook and ask my audience on Facebook what they thought the most difficult sales skill was to learn. And I went through all the comments. There was about 50, 60, maybe 70. And I just kept on scrolling through what people were thinking was the hardest sales skill to learn. And then I realized that more and more people were suggesting that the hardest skill to learn in selling is how to shut up, or how to listen, or how to just not talk, or how to stop talking. Different variations of shut up. And what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about how you can close more deals by shutting up and not talking. But the main question to ask is, how do you know when to shut up? That would be the high quality question. And that's why you're here on my channel, because I'm going to give you a high quality answer. I think one of the most effective ways to get salespeople to shut their mouths is by using a little bit of tape and then taping their mouths shut. But actually that won't work, because if their mouths are shut, they're not going to be able to communicate at all. So there has to be a better way, right? Yes, there is. And this here is a graph that I drew. And no, the lines are not straight. And I don't know whether this is the X or the Y axis, but you guys can let me know in the comments. Basically, what this graph is it's a graph that stands for this axis, whatever one that is, stands for interest level. And this portion of the graph stands for the amount of time that is going by during your sales process. Now, when you start your sales interaction with somebody, usually the interest level is somewhere around 0. Hopefully, they're talking to you because they have at least a little bit of interest, and we can talk about that in a different video. But what I want to illustrate is where your buyer is going to go and what the C spot is. Now, although I don't remember too much of what they taught me in high school during math class, I do know that this little figure right here is called a parabola. And what this stands for is your buyer's interest level during your sales pitch. What most salespeople end up doing is ending up trying to close a deal somewhere at the latter portion of this graph, when interest levels are not as high as they should be, which means that you're going to hear objections, you're going to get stalled out, or you're just not going to be able to close the deal because you've been talking long enough to make sure that your prospect's interest level actually declines. So basically, what I'm trying to say on this really technical, high-tech graph is that your buyer's interest level, as you are talking with them, as you're pitching them your product or talking about their pain points, whatever, their interest level is going to go up, and sooner or later, it's going to peak. Now, this position right here, when your buyer's interest level is the highest, this is called the C spot, and that stands for the closing spot. That's where you want to ask your closing questions. That's when you want your buyer to take delivery or sign up for your product or service or whatever. That's the place where you want to get a deal done. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's important to know exactly where you're at on your own parabola and when your buyer actually has the most interest. Now, we could do probably a 3-hour-long video right here and I could dive into everything, but you're just gonna forget about 60% of what I say the moment you exit out of this window on your YouTube channel to go do something else that's hopefully productive. So if you're looking for more information, more in-depth stuff on selling and techniques and strategies, I invite you to go to stuparsalesacademy.com and check out some of the content that I have there. I have a massive library designed specifically to get you in the know with what you need to know to be successful in sales. Now, with that being said, I will say this. My sales pitches, my sales interactions with people are all question-based. When I say that my sales process is question-based, it means that I don't like doing a lot of talking. It means that I don't like working very hard, because talking and thinking of what to say and how to say it and when to say it is actually quite a bit of work, and it will make sure that you stay skinny, because thinking requires calories. And if you didn't know that, drop a comment below. Now, I'm absolutely certain that at some point in your life, you've watched some American football and seen a quarterback snap the ball and right before throwing it, get sacked. And you hear on the commentary of them talking about this quarterback's internal clock. It's this internal awareness through experience and through repetition and training that a quarterback is able to start figuring out that they have between 1 and 3 seconds to get rid of the ball before running the risk of getting sacked. And so a quarterback that is waiting too long to get rid of the ball, and then they get into some trouble, they usually get sacked, and then you start screaming at your TV.
Flacco has time, now in trouble, and J.J. Watt with the sack.
Well, that's the exact same thing that your sales manager does when you talk for too long with your client. A lot of the sales that I teach and a lot of the selling processes that I put in place in companies, individuals, or whatever has to do with question-based selling. Guys, I can't tell you how important it is and how easier it is to sell when you're just sitting back and asking questions. You see, if you're talking, if you're pitching, or you're talking too much about your product, your service, your company, yourself, or whatever, then you're gonna end up boring your customer and you're gonna end up declining their interest level. And then you're gonna not get a deal and your sales manager is gonna be screaming at the TV, except he'll be screaming at you, which is never good. Question-based selling means that you're spending less time thinking about what to say and thinking about how to pitch your product or thinking about how to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And that requires a lot of thinking and thought process, when really it's just a lot easier to ask questions that you already know and then wait for a response, control the conversation, and then understand, uncover, and identify pain points and ways to close the deal. You get what I'm saying? Although every sales process is a little bit different, it is safe to say that my rule of thumb for speaking during a sales pitch or on a phone call or just sitting across from somebody is to speak for no longer than 15 to maybe 20 to maybe 25 seconds at a time. Of course, there are instances where you may have to explain something for 45 seconds, a minute, or even 2, but generally, more often than not, I don't speak for longer than 15 to 20 seconds because I have an internal clock that says, hey, Jordan, it's probably time to ask a question, so that 1, you can maintain control of the sales process, and 2, make sure that your buyer is engaged, and 3, make sure that you're able to identify what the buyer's pain points are so that when you get to the highest level of interest, you can close your buyer at the C spot. The day that I turned into a sales professional was the day after I grabbed a legal pad and filled up 4 pages with questions to ask. Questions that I could ask at any time in the sales process. Questions that could break up what I was actually saying. Questions that could generate some interest from my customer. Questions that could help me identify pain points or problems so that I could actually provide a solution. And it was on that day that I became a sales professional. I ended up closing a $108,000 deal in under 30 minutes, making about $17,000 worth of commission. And then I haven't used any sales process other than that one, because guess what? It works. Now, of course, you may be wondering, Jordan, what were those questions that you wrote down on that sheet of paper, and how can I apply them to what I sell so that I can make more sales, shut up, and get this internal clock that you keep on talking about? Well, I invite you to click in the link that's in the description below so that you can grab yourself some access to over 200 videos, way better than this one, that dive way deeper into some of the actual question-based sales techniques that I use, some of the actual questions that I like to ask, so that you can actually apply them to what you do so that you can make more money and just like enjoy a better life, because making more money, being great at sales, and not having to like just talk all the time, it's a way better life. I really appreciate you tuning back into my channel, and I hope that you keep on coming back. So if you got some value, some entertainment, or some insight out of this video, I would recommend hitting the subscribe button, sharing with a friend, and leaving a comment below, and giving a little thumbs up to this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back again soon to talk more about selling and how you can make more money. Let's get it.